Hello and welcome to another edition of Phakaathi's Balls to the Wall podcast.
Phakaaathi!
The podcast that brings you all things football in Mzansi and beyond. I'm Phakathi editor Jonty Mark, and I am joined, as per usual today, by football writer Sibongiseni Gumbi. Good day, Mr. Gumbi.
Hey, Jonty, how's it?
I'm well, and you?
Good.
That's good.
Lots to talk about. Yeah.
Lots to talk about. Back from a little spell of leave.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed yourself, whatever you were doing.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, no more comment from Mr. Gumbi than yep. We'll leave it at that. Tsepo, welcome. Tsepo Nsoalengwe, football writer. Welcome.
Thanks very much, Jonty. Always nice to be here, and good day to the listeners.
Yeah. Okay, this week we are going to talk about Mamelodi Sundowns reaching the final of the African Football League, beating Al Ahly 1-0 on aggregate after a goalless draw in Cairo yesterday, which was Wednesday. Orlando Pirates losing to Cape Town Spurs in the DStv
Why are you
Premiership.
laughing, Jonty?
Because nobody else had lost to Cape Town Spurs, but Orlando Pirates managed to do it, which I suppose is an achievement in itself. 8 defeats in a row for Cape Town Spurs. But at the Cape Town Stadium, in a city where Pirates' record is abysmal, Cape Town Spurs did beat Pirates 2-1. And SuperSport United going second in the DStv Premiership with a 3-2 win at TS Galaxy at Mbombela Stadium, also on Wednesday. Bradley Grobler getting the winner to go with his hat-trick in the previous game. He's a veteran striker in fine form. Surprised, perhaps, that he hasn't made Hugo Broos's 44-man preliminary, and I'm laughing again, yes, 44-man preliminary squad for the World Cup qualifiers against Benin and Rwanda next month, seeing as everybody else seems to have made it. Well, I'll start with a little rant about that, and then we'll move on to the Sundowns, because can anyone tell me the point of naming a 44-man preliminary Bafana Bafana squad when you're going to name a 23-man Bafana Bafana squad the following week? And I've heard it said, no, well, you don't know about injuries and what might happen with the squad, etc., etc. I'm sorry, but that's just absolute gibberish. Yeah. Because everybody names a 23-man squad. If there's an injury, then you just replace someone in the squad leading up to the game. What is Bruce doing? Is he trying to make people in other DStv Premiership clubs feel better about themselves
He's excluded them from the team. If you are not in that 44-man team, you know you are not going to be in the final.
Yeah, but I mean, if you are and you're an outsider, you know you're pretty much not going to be in there either unless someone gets injured or unless 5 people get injured or whatever it is. So, I mean, you know, I suppose it's good for a youngster like Bradley Cross or a youngster at Stellenbosch like Jaden Adams to see their name. But are they realistically going to be in the final 23? Probably not.
I think Bradley Cross has a chance. If you look at the left back, Fiso Hlanti, I don't see him going to the 23-man. There's no sense in Fiso Hlanti going there.
Well, he likes playing Nico Mobi at left back.
Nico Mobi plays right back. He likes this Pirates captain. He's not there.
Mayela.
He likes Mayela. He replaced him with Marco last time. But Marco is not playing, so Cross is coming. I think it's a big chance for him. I think, and having watched Cross in the past few games, I think he's a decent player.
Can Cross cross?
He can do everything.
Cross can cross?
Yes.
Cross is a decent player, though. Yeah. He is a decent player.
He could just cement the place as his own, because I think that's the one place at Bafana Bafana that doesn't have a player that can claim it and say it's his position. So it's a chance for the youngster.
That's good. It's good. He was in the Newcastle United youth setup. I don't think you get in there without being a good player. So obviously he's got plenty of potential still. He's only 22, 23. So yeah, maybe he can make it. But I still think, and I will end the rant here, that naming a 44-man preliminary squad is a load of absolute nonsense. And if I was advising Bruce, I would advise him to just name a finals 23-man squad when you're ready to name the squad. And if Cross is in it or Adams is in it, then great. If not, okay. But yeah, you're just sort of naming an enlarged squad for no apparent reason.
Even Melusi Buthelezi got the call up.
I'm glad, Jonty, that you say it's a rant, because you must expect one from him about you when he names his final squad.
if he's one of the six
You know he
people-
likes ranting about journalists and what
Yeah,
they say.
no,
and
he
what
does like ranting
people say
about
you.
journalists.
So expect a rant from him about you. So
I'm just saying
go
if
there
you-
prepared when he names his final squad.
Before he starts his press conference, he'll
Just
start saying,
be
about,
prepared.
there's this journalist at this certain newspaper.
I'm
Now
just
he'll call you
saying
out by name.
Yeah.
if he's one of the 34 people listening to this podcast, then he will have a rant. Otherwise, he'll probably leave it be. Okay, let's move on. Mamelodi Sundowns drew 0-0 with Al Ahly in Cairo, a game televised on the SABC, who have the rights to that particular competition on Wednesday. Percy Tau won a penalty early in the game that Roman Williams saved, diving to his left. Al Ahly basically had a lot more shots on goal, as you'd expect from the home team, but Sundowns held them out and ended up going through, courtesy of Tapelo Maseko's goal in Shwane on Sunday. They will now face their nemesis, Wydad Casablanca, in the final in a match that the winner will go home with $4 million from, which I'm sure we would all appreciate. Sundowns perhaps don't need it. The one club in South Africa that perhaps don't need $4 million, but they will get it if they beat Wydad over 2 legs. They'll still get a pretty penny, I think $3 million, just
Yeah,
from
it's
being
around
in
3
the
million
just
being
from
around
being
it.
in the final. So they'll be all right either way. But I'm sure they'll want the prestige and the honour of winning a continental trophy, another one to add to the Super Cup and the Champions League that they have in the locker. Guys, Sabor, maybe first. This competition sort of came out of nowhere. We didn't really come out of nowhere. It's been on the books of CAF President Patrice Motsepe, but maybe as an 8-team competition, it suddenly appeared. Suddenly, Sundowns were allowed by the PSL to play in it. And well, I guess they've justified that by getting all the way to the final. They're going to have a lot of catch-up to do in other competitions, except not the Carling Knockout, because they've been knocked out of the Carling Knockout, but maybe they just decided it was worth sacrificing if they had to for the chance to play in this tournament. And, yeah, well, another chance to get one over Wydad, although they haven't really managed to do that over the years.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for Sundowns. I think the best part of it is that they stand to make history and be the first team to win this thing. We know they've been trying for the Champions League. It hasn't been going well, I guess, because of the number of games that you have to play in the Champions League. Perhaps you get tired along the way. Fatigue catches up with you. But on this one, they've played 2 games already and they're in the final. So it's just 4 games and they are in the final. So it's 2 more games and they are the champions, and it's groundbreaking, and it will be good for South African football to get that recognition, to have that on the continent, that the first team to win this competition is from South Africa. Although that doesn't do much for our football. We know Bafana Bafana might benefit, might not benefit, but yeah.
Bafana might benefit, might not. I think they do benefit from players playing on the continent. I know that the Bafana coach likes to talk about
but he doesn't like
Kuliso
Mudau.
level. Well, he picked Mudau in the last game. He was the best
he
player.
did. And he did
But
very
he
well.
doesn't play
He
him.
did very well.
He
did
replaced
play
him
him.
towards the end of the
But
game, and he was
I
the
think
best player on the field, and he replaced him.
I think from the last game now,
No, I
Kuliso
think
justifies.
Mudau will get in it right
Yeah,
back.
he will get it right. I mean, he
he'll
played
get
really
it
well,
right.
and I think Bruce saw it.
He was very good. He's
But he
finally
was
woken
replaced
up.
when he was the best player on the field. And
No,
he
I think
put
it
on
was just a
Mobi,
matter.
who
It was
he's
just a matter of
tried and
giving other players a
tested, and it's not giving another player another chance. Mobi has been playing, he's been tried and tested.
I think he
under
saw
Bush.
enough, man. Let's just say he saw enough.
I
for
think he
Mudau.
saw enough to know that Mudau is worth another
Yeah.
pick. That's what I think.
That's what I
I think
think
we'll
as well.
see. I think we might see Mobby if he wants to play more defensively, but in games
Where he
Bafana are
needs to
expected to win, like against Benin. You probably will see Mudau in that one at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, so they're taking him to Durban now.
Yeah, it's in Durban.
Finally.
Before that, because nothing ever gets taken to Durban. Everything gets taken to Durban.
If you want a vibe, take it to Durban.
Everything gets taken to Durban. I've been at Bafana games in Durban with no vibe, by the way, so it doesn't necessarily mean there'll be a vibe. We'll see.
So it's just Bafana
it is
that
a World
doesn't
Cup
have a vibe.
qualifier, so maybe, yeah, basically. Pirates or Chiefs play in Durban, definitely a vibe. But, yeah. Okay, but that two-legged final, it finishes, the second leg is on November the 11th. So we'll be all done with that competition by next week. A pretty short, sharp and sweet, certainly in the pocket of these clubs, in the bank balance of these clubs' competition there. Sundowns, congratulations on making it. I guess a feather also Tsebo and Relani Mokwena's cap in terms of, he's done what everyone else has done by winning the DSTV Premiership. But he sort of would like some, I'm sure, as a head coach, some sort of feather in his cap in terms of a continental trophy. And it will give Sundowns maybe some confidence heading into the Champions League group stages next year.
I mean, he hasn't hid the fact that he wants to do very well in the continent, and because like you remember when Rudani started after Coach Pizzo left, everybody thought Rudani was gonna fail, but he has proved himself enough that he's worthy of being a top coach in South Africa and the continent as a whole. And I think what's just missing right now is just that a continental trophy. And I think the African Football League came at a very right time because after the disappointment of losing in the semi-finals of the last editions of the CAF Champions League. Now the EFL has given him a chance, to win a continental trophy. And, not just a chance, but it will be history in the making for him because, this is the first time that the tournament has been played and it's going to be won by him. I mean, yes, it's going to be difficult because we're going to be facing, a Wydad Casablanca side. But we all know that they are one of those, teams that are one of the best in the continent. It's going to be a very, very interesting game. But again, I think we have to, give Rudani, a round of applause because I think he has done very well. He has shown that he is able to beat Al Ahly. I mean, the last time in the CAF Champions League, they beat them 5-2 when they played in South Africa. And right now, he managed to win 1-0 here at home. And they drew not in Cairo, which is a very big deal. I mean, we all know how difficult it is to play in Egypt. And, and for him to be able to stay this team to a final, it says a lot about him. And, I think he's just doing great. And I really hope he goes all the way and wins this final.
Yeah, I thought Relani also played the mind games quite well with the coach. Obviously, the Al Ahly coach complaining that his team didn't get a penalty towards the end of the game in Chouane, and then at the end of the game in Cairo, there was a wasn't really controversial actually, it was quite a simple decision for the referee because the ball took a massive deflection, then hit the player's arm. It was really completely accidental. I don't think you could give a penalty for that. I think it was the correct decision, but there was obviously a chance, I suppose, in another era when we don't have the benefit
But they should
of VAR,
blame themselves. Why did they take so long to take that free
that a
kick?
penalty might be given. Yeah.
Because
No,
if they took the free kick quickly,
they are the ones who push the referee to go and look at the VAR.
No.
So yes, they are to blame.
they should have taken the free kick early and just.
And
scored
that was
from
a very good position to take a free kick.
But they
anything
did
could have
it, and they
happened.
thought when the referee was called, they thought it's because they want to give a penalty when they wanted to deny even the free kick.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's Sundowns who are going through.
And we are all
Well done,
happy.
mate, and we're all happy with that.
I don't
South
know if you guys saw after the game. The Al Ahly fans were angry with the team. They started throwing bottles at their own players and the thing of stuff. Yeah, I saw a video. The fans were very angry. We started every day. Someone was saying, "Okay, now we see Al Ahly fans are just like Kaizer Chiefs fans."
Well, that's what I was going to say. Have they been watching? Have they been watching
Kaizer
Chiefs?
Yeah. So every time we are, upset with your team, we're just gonna throw
a bottle.
a bottle. Yeah.
No, Chiefs, of course. That's the other news this week. They have to play Cape Town Spurs behind closed doors at FNB Stadium on November the 8th. After they were found guilty of spectator misbehaviour.
Another slap in the wrist.
A slap on the wrist. What I found also quite interesting is there's a suspended sentence for if they do it again that they have to, there's a 300,000 rand fine, which is a decent fine, but then there's a suspended sentence saying Chiefs have to play a game at a neutral venue.
Yeah, so I don't really
I look at that and I'm
it.
like, where is a neutral venue when
for
Chiefs play? Are they going to take the game to Cairo? Where in South Africa are Chiefs going to play at a neutral venue?
But you know that in Cairo they will have fans.
They will have fans.
Al
That's
Ahly
what I was
fans
about to say that. Yeah.
will still throw things at the coach even there.
Saying, who came up with that idea?
Man,
that is
come on.
absolutely insane. Anyway,
No, I think what
very
they're running away from is just identifying the people who start these things and just banning them from the stadium. I mean, I understand because we're already struggling in terms of attracting fans, so you don't want to
start banning fans
to start banning the few that come, because if this continues, the performances don't come for Chiefs. The fans will then just say, we're not coming to the stadiums because if we come, we're going to complain against the coach and you're going to ban us anyway. So, I guess it's a knife that cuts from both sides for the PSL and Chiefs. They just need to educate their fans more, I think. That's what should be defined, that they should talk to their fans more, try to visit branches, not just send somebody, but maybe the top officials there. They must go to branches and speak to the supporters themselves, and open the right channels for the fans to voice their concerns. Because
I think they have issued a statement, at least, Chief, saying they are looking at video footage and they are at least in the process of it. You don't know whether anything will come out of it. We'll see, I suppose, the next time bottles fly at FNB Stadium or another stadium, will know whether anything's been come out of it or whether the same fans are in the ground causing trouble. But something has to be done because it's just repeated itself. I mean, Chiefs have taken action in terms of sacking and Tseki. But if the results keep going wrong, then you can just see more of this happening. Okay, let's move to Orlando Pirates.
And some people are saying it would have happened in Durban if it wasn't for rain. But the rain, they say, saved Johnson because it rained hard just before the game ended. And
I hope
ran for cover and they couldn't.
I hope that with 3 days to take charge of a team, Johnson's given a bit of slack. I think, in the next game, there won't be any fan violence because there won't be any fans in the stadium. But after that, I hope he's given. Maybe he can be judged, but not with bottles, please. Anyway, we'll see what happens going forward with that.
He just needs to find the goalkeeper and pretty soon.
I didn't see any bottles thrown at Jose Rivero on Wednesday night in Cape Town Stadium, although I did see some very unhappy-looking Orlando Pirates fans as the team went down 2-1 to Cape Town Spurs. Cape Town Spurs, 8 defeats in 8 games heading into that game. Nobody really gave them a chance. And they got 2-0 up very early in the game. Evidence Machopa pulled one back for Pirates, but they couldn't, despite several chances in the second half, find the equaliser. And so it's Cape Town Spurs who get a huge 3 points for them, and it's Orlando Pirates whose own miserable start to the DStv Premiership season continues. Seppo, Pirates they seem to just not bring the same energy to league games that they bring to the Cups at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate, for Pirates, especially, with the way they've been talking about challenging Sundowns for the league title. I just don't see it happening because right now we are about 15 points, a trip from Sundowns. That's a lot of points. And the way they've been playing is not really promising. Pirates is not really a bad team, Jonty, if you look at it. I think it's just a matter of, prioritizing the games because I think, when we play in the cup games, we go all out. But when it comes to, the league matches, they kind of relax. And I think that's a major problem. I mean, even during the game against Cape Town Spurs last night, they created plenty of opportunities, but they were not really lethal up front. Evidence Machopa, before he scored that consolation goal, he got a glorious opportunity and he just, let the ball just go slide through between his legs. So, I think it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. Or it's just about, just Coach Jose Rivero, talking to his players and making sure that, they, give the same attention they give to the cup games as in the league games because right now they're going to find themselves, down at the bottom of the lot because, teams are starting to collect points now. A lot of teams are starting to collect points now, and we are just on 9 points after 8 games, which is really bad for a team like Pirates. So it's about time we change their attitude towards league games.
Yeah, I mean, Lisa and Dar also had a header where he was basically standing 2 meters from goal and he missed. That's when there was a good save from Sam Ramsbottom in the Ajax goal. There were a couple of other chances. They built up well, Pirates, against Spurs. They got the ball down the flanks with Lorch and Salang. Lorch's delivery, I have to say, was pretty inconsistent. Sometimes he gave a good ball, sometimes it was just not good. From all the Pirates players, really, sometimes their final ball. And I saw Rivero after the game talking about them sort of maybe getting a bit overexcited and panicking and desperate in the last 10 minutes because there were some atrocious passes from good positions and they didn't quite capitalise on their dominance because they were dominant over Cape Town Spurs. I mean, Cape Town Spurs went ahead and basically sat back and played on the break. Saw young Bartman got a chance in the second half as well. So, Spo, what do you think wrong with Orlando Pirates at the moment. I mean, Rivera also said obviously they can't afford to fall asleep in the first half and go 2-0 down. From there, it's always very difficult to find a way back.
You know what? I saw a meme with a pit bull saying Pirates in cup games, and a small, I don't know, is it a Chihuahua, a small dog, and saying Pirates in league games. And I think for me, that says it all. I don't know why in league games they struggle, or is it because they say they play the same style they do in cup games, and because mistakes are unlikely in league games because teams know that they can settle for a draw, so they don't panic when they defend. So if you're gonna hassle them like that, they can just stay calm like Cape Town Spurs did last night, and they can defend for 90 minutes. In a cup game, they're going to crack at some point because they also want to score in advance and all of that and all of that. But maybe they need to, because I felt they were too rushed. There were moments where you felt that where you saw the difference between Pirates and Sundowns. That if Sundowns see that they can't score now, they just hold the game down, just slow it down a little bit and just play. Build up from the back nicely, play it nice. Don't rush these passes because, as you said, Jose was complaining about passes that went wrong. It's because they were rushing. They were just throwing everything in front like it's a cup game. It's not a cup game. You need to relax. You can settle for a point. It's fine. Don't from the onset. You just running onto them, and we can't use the same style in every game. You need to have a league kind of style that
Approach,
you play.
Yeah. I think, that's a fair point. It felt a bit like Pirates was pushing so hard to win the game that they didn't relax and just say, okay, well, if we can get a point, it'll be okay. It's like they wanted to score, and then I'm sure if they had scored, you would have seen someone pile into the net, rip the ball off the goalkeeper and run back to the centre circle. But it was all a bit too rushed, perhaps from Pirates. From Cape Town Spurs' perspective, obviously, it's something to build on finally. They've, as we mentioned, have now got 3 points, still bottom of the table. Keegan Buchanan saying after the game, winning the Man of the Match award, saying there was he also said there was an article written that said that Pirates this was just a warm up for Pirates ahead of their game in the Carling Black Label knockout against Richards Bay on Saturday, and they used that as motivation. Whether it was that caused them to win the game, who knows? But they certainly, they got a couple of goals, hung on to that. And, the coach, I think, Sean Connor, afterwards, he's the acting coach, right?
Yeah.
He's not acting anymore.
He's not.
Now.
Okay, because
Did
they don't
confirm it.
Supersport like to refer to him as technical, still like to refer to him as
because
technical director, but he's the guy who speaks after the game.
Yeah, they are not looking for a coach anymore.
Manisakis is also on the bench.
Yeah, Manisakis is the assistant, so yeah.
Well, anyway, he sort of said after the game.
But you know what I hope, Jonty, with Cape Town Spurs, I hope that it's not a one-off against Pirates because, you can win. These teams from the bottom win against the big teams, and they come up against Chippa next week and they struggle. So I just hope it's not a one-off because if it's a one-off, then it's going to be bad for them because how many times do they play Pirates?
Yeah, they do look. I mean, they do look defensively vulnerable to me. Like a team with a bit more composure than Pirates showed would have, I think, beaten them. My coach did refer to them not playing as well as they had in other games this season. They do look vulnerable. Clayton Daniels is always been a classy defender, but he's 39 years old. Yeah. At some point.
And you can see there were balls where he should have let the goalkeeper catch and
he was just kicking them out.
Them out for a corner.
They've also got Nazir Ali. They got Ralani that they brought off the bench. They've got some experience in there, but you do feel like
Nicholas Lukubeni
they're kind of there for the taking for a team that shows a bit more composure in the final third. But hopefully they can build on that and get themselves up the table and certainly, at least perhaps avoid relegation. If they can avoid relegation, frankly, after losing 8 games in a row, then they've done well. Okay, I think that's good for this week. We haven't really mentioned Chiefs much, but good, because they didn't play. So we'll be back on
and
them.
And they are not even playing this weekend.
Next week when they play.
All the big teams are playing this weekend.
Nobody will be watching them.
If your team is not playing this weekend, then it's not a big
Are you saying Mamelodi Sundowns are not? Oh, they're playing in the African Football League final. Yeah, okay.
If your team is having a rest weekend, then
because the Chiefs fans,
you need to think hard about the status of your team.
Suppose email address is... No, I'm just kidding. His cell phone number is... No, I'm just kidding. Okay, that's all for this week. Please do follow us on Twitter at Phakathi with 3 A's. Like us on Facebook at Phakathi with 3 A's. And get your copy of Phakathi, the supplement, free when you buy the Citizen newspaper every Tuesday. Thank you to Sabo.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tsebo.
Aitawala.
And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Cheers.